Hey guys, today's post and video is inspired by my friend Amanda, who's a member of my Pinfinite Traffic for Bloggers Facebook group. She asked me a question the other day, and it was all about her meta description and why it wasn't showing up in Google. And as I went to answer her, I thought, you know what? There are so many blog tips for new beginner bloggers that people just don't know about. And it totally inspired me to write a post about it. So if you don't know me, my name is Jen Tokenyuk. I'm your digital CEO. And today I'm talking all about blog tips for beginner bloggers. I'm going to be focusing a lot on Yoast and what people think it is and what it isn't, as well as how to find really good keywords that you can actually compete for so that you can rank on Google faster. So Amanda's question was all about the fact that she had written this great meta description in Yoast, which is an SEO plugin for WordPress. She wrote it in there and figured that Google always used that meta description for her post. But when we went over to her post on Google, because I asked her, hey, what keywords should I be searching? And she said, search protein guide for beginners. So I went over, I used an incognito window because I've been on her blog before. Her blog is beautiful. And I typed in protein guide for beginners. She told me it was on page 2, which it was, which is awesome because her blog is so new. And here she is at bubblesandbarbells.ca. So I'm going to scroll over to it. She was irritated because it was pulling her title and this first paragraph versus the meta description that she had written in Yoast. And she was wondering, how in the heck do I change that? Well, what I was trying to explain to her is the same thing that I'm going to explain to you guys, which is Yoast doesn't have anything to do with what Google chooses for your meta description. Google is going to look at the search intent and what people typed in and use that. So when I asked Amanda what her actual meta description was, she told me that her meta description was, hold on, because I asked her and I'm going to find it. Okay. What is protein? What is it good for? What types of protein powders are there? Which one to choose from? This is everything you need to know and more. Well, she told me that the keywords were protein guide for beginners. So note that those weren't even in here. It never says protein guide for beginners in here, which is what she used as her meta description. Now, I bet you if you go type in what is protein or what is it good for or what types of protein powders are there, Amanda has a much better chance of her blog showing up, and her meta description will probably show up as that, right? But because her search terms weren't in her meta description, Google chose a paragraph from her actual blog that had those words in it. So that's something to really consider. Is it's not a bad thing that Google didn't pick your meta description. Google read your post and knew that when people were searching in the best protein guide for beginners, that your post should be on page 2. So this is a really cool thing. So as I kept going with Amanda and asking her, what would you like this to look like? Maybe we can change the top paragraph so that it has something, relevant to the meta that you actually wanted in there. And so she told me, okay, well, let me change this. And so she added in, okay, let me put this in my key phrase. I've added protein powders to choose from. Okay. And it highlighted protein powders. Okay. Well, here's my issue with protein powders to choose from as being a focus key phrase. And this goes into how I do my keyword research. So again, the incognito window inside of Google is your best friend. Okay. So I went over to my Google because I thought, protein, protein, I can't even say it now. Hold on. What did she search for? Protein powders to choose from. Okay, I don't know that I would ever type that into Google, right? So I started over here and I went into an incognito window. You have to do that. And I started typing protein powders to choose from. Okay. The fact that I got all the way to the very last letter of 5 words and it's not suggesting protein powders to choose from leads me to believe that no one is searching for this. Google's autocomplete is the best tool that's completely free that you have to know if someone is searching for a term. She might be better off to say anything else, or if she really wants to do protein powders to choose from, she might want to choose one of these qualifier words at the end, because protein powders to choose from just isn't a thing at all on Google search. So before you go in to start writing a post, just make sure that someone is actually searching for your search terms. And then where you can go from there is to see where your competition lies. So let's say we go back to, I really liked her best protein. Let's even try best protein powder. Let's see what happens with that. We know that's going to be there. Maybe for women, because she's a woman and Bubbles and Barbells sounds womanly. Okay, we can take a look through here and see, okay, I know shape.com. I don't know about that one. Ooh, we got GMC, we got Good Housekeeping, we got Family Living Today, Amazon. We might be in trouble with this, but the way to find out would be to go to a keyword research tool that I use called Key Search. I don't use Key Search as much to find my keywords as I do to find competition for keywords. So earlier today, I was searching best leash for small dogs, and there's a reason that I was doing that. So I'm going to flip back real quick. What I wanted to show Amanda was the fact that the same post can rank #1 for different search terms. And again, it's not a bad thing. So if I type in best leash for small dogs, I get the very first post after the featured snippet area. Okay, this is #1, is this NY Mag, and it's 23 best dog leashes. And you'll see the best dog leashes for small dogs. Okay, but the search that I did right before that was best dog leashes. Okay, so without the small dogs, but same post ranks. And notice it doesn't say anything about small dogs in this snippet section that it pulled, the meta description. Google will pull whatever it wants from your text because Google reads what you post. So the beautiful thing about this whole thing is that you don't really have to focus on one keyword term exclusively. Your post, if it's well written for SEO, and if you kind of focus on a couple different things that are very well related, can end up being #1 for multiple searches, as long as there isn't too much competition. So let's go back over to Key Search. And again, Key Search, I don't use this for my keyword research as much because it'll say that there's like 20 volume or whatever. But if I go over and type in, let's find something that has a 0 next to it that supposedly has 0 searches, which in the dog realm might be tough. Let's try best leash for small dogs who bite. Let's see if anybody supposedly searches for that in Key Search. My point being here is that a lot of times Key Search will tell you that there is 0 search volume, yet you can go back. Aha, I got a 0. Okay, best leash for small dogs who bite. 36 competition score, so it's not super high. It's easy, moderate. But if we go back over here and let's do best leashes for small dogs who bite. See, look, it's here. The whole thing is here without anything afterwards. So somebody is obviously searching for this. So the fact that Key Search says there's 0, maybe it's not a lot, but someone is searching for this. So it is absolutely not 0. So I don't take this as a no-go. If it's a 36 competition and it falls into my competitive realm of what my blog can compete with, I might write a post, best leash for small dogs who bite. But back to Amanda, let's go to our protein powders for women. And And let's see what this is going to be. I bet you it's going to be pretty high. A lot of people write about this stuff, but I bet you we can find, aha, okay, so it's moderate, it's not horribly high, but those same websites that I was talking about, this is where I look at competition, okay? I can look down here. This is the cool thing about key search, and I'm out of all the keyword research tools that I could possibly use, this is the cheapest one out there, and it has the best features. Um, but if I scroll down here, I can kind of see other things that I might want to write about. Like, let's say women's protein shakes for toning. Let's check that one. Key search gives me like 200 searches a day. So I have plenty to be able to mess around in here. Let's see. Protein powder for women in 2019. Sometimes if you do one that has a year in it, you might get some play for that. Protein for women's weight loss. This could be good. It's still high. Best vegan, top protein powders, female protein powder. It's kind of weird. Let's check that one out. Let's find something. Women's weight gain. I'd be shocked if this one's high. Yeah, that one's low. But, you know, you could use that as long as that's what your post is actually about. But what I like about this again is that you can go ahead and you can look through here. You can research other keyword terms that might fit your blog post. Always, always, always make sure that the keywords that you're using for your blog post, that you're writing your whole blog post around, really have to do with the problem you're solving for your reader as well as the topic of your blog post. You don't want to be just weaving in random keywords because they get a lot of searches if that's not what your content's about, because Google really doesn't like that, and it can end up limiting your views more than actually enhancing your views. So if you can find a really good keyword in here that has lower competition, cool thing about key search, and I did a whole post on key search. I'll drop the link in the comments below. But the other really cool thing about this is it'll tell you, if you click the Explorer tab, what score you can target based on your domain authority, which is kind of cool. So I know that I'm targeting scores of 31 or below. So if I see a post over here with a score of 30, even 35 or 38, if I'm in the same color scheme, like that green, or, you know, sometimes you'll see ones that are like blue, which is like, I think 20 and below, those I'll totally go for. The other thing to note about key search is if you go into the more tools and you go into the content assistant, okay, I'm back into the best leashes for small dogs again. If I wanted to write this post, even though the competition is moderate and my little blog would get crushed, maybe yours doesn't. What's really cool about this is that all the competition research that you would normally do in an incognito window in Google, clicking back and forth, trying to figure out who these blogs are, how long these posts are, what keywords are in them, Key Search does all of this for you. So it'll tell you that if you want to write a post about the best leash for small dogs, you need to write about 2,951 words. You need to make sure that these must words are somewhere in your post. And you can actually put your post content here, and these will turn blue when it sees these words in your post, which is really convenient. Then you can go over to the SERPs and you can see the word count on posts, you know, what's ranking number one all the way down, you know, and kind of get a good idea of, you know, sometimes a really high domain authority blog can get away with only having 1,044 words and rank number one. But it'll kind of give you a median of where you need to be. But it's a lot easier to do your research inside of here than trying to click outside of there. And, you know, again, you can find, like when I was digging around for the best leashes for dogs who bite, where did that go? It saves all your searches too, so you don't have to remember what the heck you searched later. But yeah, if I go back to here and I see that, you know, my best leash for small dogs who bite competition score of 36, I would totally write that. I can see that, some people in my realm, 24s and 22s are actually ranking for this. I could go over, and see how many words are in their post and that kind of thing. But I can also look through here and also find some great keywords that I might not have thought of on my own. And then again, you get 200 checks per day. Don't ever check the bulk check thing because it'll whap out all 200 of yours like right away. And then you'll have to wait until tomorrow to be able to do any more research. So that's a pro tip from me. So if you love tips like this, if you want walkthroughs on how to do keyword research, how to build Pinterest pins, how to build your blog and build a full-time income from home, please like and subscribe. Head over to my blog where you can read a lot more about this. I always give a lot more detail in my blog posts than I'm able to give in my videos. And I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you guys next time.